morning, Mr. Cole. I'd like to start off with thanking you for joining us today.
Good morning, Helen. I'd like to thank you for having me.
Would you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Of course not.
First of all, what inspired you to become a musical artist?
Most of the inspiration came from my family. My father was a Baptist minister, which inspired me to learn how to play the organ, which my mother helped me half the time. I began performing at my father's church at the age of 4. From there, I worked to improve my musical skills.
When did you begin music lessons and why?
I started music lessons at the age of 12. I wanted to expand my horizons in the musical aspect. So I began performing jazz and gospel and led to European and classical music.
What inspired you to go into the big business?
It's kind of funny because I used to sneak out of my house at night and hang around the outside clubs and listen to the artists such as Louis Armstrong and Errol Hines and Jimmy New.
How did you acquire the nickname Nat King Cole?
I was doing a performance at the jazz club when I was given that nickname, which was reinforced by an unrelated nursery rhyme. You know, the old King Cole nursery rhyme.
Your first hit, Straighten Up and Fly Right, based on a black folk tale that your father had used in one of his sermons. How did it feel to finally get a recording?
I was really overwhelmed with excitement. I sold over 5,000 copies, which proved that folk-based music can appeal to the wide audience, you know?
Yeah. In 1956, you began hosting your own show called The Nat King Cole Show. What was it like being the first African-American to host a show of that kind?
It was really hard being African-American, especially on television. So to host my own show, many of my colleagues, such as Ella Fitzgerald and Harold Belafonte and Frank Lane, and a few others worked for no pay, basically. But ultimately, due to racism and the lack of national sponsorship, my show was canceled.
You were assaulted on stage in 1956 by members of the White Council. What was that like? You must have known it would happen eventually, or did you?
Being an African American, I could have expected it. I've been fighting racism all my life. I rarely performed in segregated venues, but yes, I did know that eventually something like that would happen.
Well, that's all we have time for. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.